Hiya 10. So for your homework this week, I'm going to talk through planning for the Romeo and Juliet and Pigeon English exams. I'm going to start off with Romeo and Juliet, as that is what you have your first exam on. You have seen this planning grid before, this is nothing new to you. So, as we know, you will write a thesis introduction, a structure paragraph, 2 language paragraphs if you are in sets 4 and 5, and then a conclusion. So what goes into each section? Well, I've put my question in the middle of the screen. How is the theme of love presented in Act 1, Scene 5 and the rest of the play? This is not your exam question, it is just an example. I've picked out love as the key word in my question. For me, love is when two people have intense feelings for each other and feel happy when they are with the other person. And I think Shakespeare is showing that love can beat everything. So that's what's going to go into my introduction. In my structure paragraph, I've chosen to talk about the fact that Romeo and Juliet are meeting at the start of the play. If I mention the start of the play, it becomes a structure paragraph. And I think their meeting changes everything. For my first language paragraph, I've chosen the quotation, "My sin is purged." He feels like all past sins are forgiven, now he can kiss Juliet. And I would talk about that in more detail, but this is just my plan. My second language paragraph will use the quotation, "Deny thy father and refuse thy name." She is willing to give up everything for this man. And then my conclusion, I talk about my techniques. I've got meeting after the initial introduction, an abstract noun and a verb. So that is my basic plan for the essay. Pause this recording now to make some notes or a plan of your own. Okay, so let's go through my quote explosion for structure. Remember, because it is a structure paragraph, I am not going to use a quotation, so I have just put Act 1, Scene 5 in the middle, as that is the extract that I had when I was planning this essay. I have 5 questions to answer. What is happening in the quote? Where is the next technique? Where in the text is the technique? Number 3, is there a device? Number 4, connotations, and number 5, link to context. So for question number 1, Romeo and Juliet meet for the first time after the audience get to know their thoughts about love. That is what's happening in this scene. Where is the scene? Well, Act 1, Scene 5 is where they first meet. It's quite near the start of the play, but not the very start. Is there a device in it? Well, yes. Structurally, we've had to wait 4 scenes to introduce the 2 main characters, which is a little bit weird in my opinion. Connotations related to that, well, as I've just said, normally we would meet the 2 lead characters immediately and they meet each other quite quickly in the play. By not doing that, it gave us a chance to get to know them. That is the structural point I'm trying to make. But how can I link it to context? Well, in Elizabethan society, the father normally chooses the husband, which he already has. So we know that Juliet has already promised somebody else, and I might talk about that in my structure paragraph. So pause this recording now to do your own structure quote explosion. Okay, moving on to language. Again, same 5 questions, so let's go straight in. I've chosen the quotation, "My sin is purged," from Act 1, Scene 5. And that's when he is about to kiss Juliet at the party. So is there a device in this quotation? Well, yes, I'm specifically focusing on the abstract noun sin. Remember, an abstract noun is a feeling or a thought that you can't see. So what keywords? Well, the keywords in my opinion, and remember you should only have 3 maximum, is sin, purged and my. What are the connotations of those words? Sin normally means going against the rules of religion. My, owning something personally. And purged is the abrupt removal of something. So how can I link all of that to context? Well, people were bound by religion in Elizabethan times. By saying a kiss will clear his sin, Romeo is being quite controversial with a young, impressionable girl. Remember, Juliet hasn't really mixed with men before, so the first time she meets him and he's basically saying, let's throw religion out the window, it's very controversial and would have really made people at the time feel uncomfortable. So pause this recording now to do your own language quote explosion. Remember, you will then go on to do another language quote explosion. So pause this recording now to do a second language quote explosion plan. So that is your Romeo and Juliet planning. I've already done a walkthrough, which you should have on class charts, of how to actually structure the essays. This is just my initial plan. So let's move on to Pigeon English. Again, I have my grid and I've written an example question. How is the theme of family presented in Pigeon English? Before I tell you mine, I would like you to pause this recording and have a go at doing the grid yourself. Okay, so what have I put down? Well, I think the key word in the question is family. So in my thesis introduction, I've written family, the people you surround yourself with who make you feel safe. And I think that Kelman is suggesting that family is safe. What am I going to put in my structure paragraph? Well, as I've told you before, for Pigeon English, I'm always going to use script as my structure paragraph. It's super easy. So the script, Harrison clearly details everything, in particular, remembering his family memories. So what am I going to do for my first language paragraph? Agnes loves my spit bubbles, and I'm going to focus on the abstract noun of love. Remember, this is just a plan. You are just putting the basic notes down. My second language paragraph, who can make the best abuse? I'm going to focus on the verb abuse because it's a misunderstanding of serious issues. Just regarding language, remember with the Pigeon English question, you do not get an extract. It has to be quotations that you have in your head. These two are two of my favourite quotations when thinking about Harrison, which is why I'm using them. But you can use any quotation that you have. So what am I putting into my conclusion? Well, I've talked about the script, the abstract noun, and the verbs. So pause this recording now, go back to your plan and finish it off with any extra details, and then we'll move on to look at quote explosions. So let's start with my structure quote explosion. I'm talking about the whole novel. And I've already put in my answer to question number 2. Where in the text is this? Well, it's on every single page of the book. But number 1, what is happening? Well, as I've said, whenever a conversation happens, Harrison writes it down like a script. It's always there. Is there a device? Yes, it's a script and connotations. The use of script reminds us of a police report, but it is also a way of detailing things so we don't forget them. So although sometimes we might be thinking of the script like a police report, it is a way of people detailing down what things people have said to them. So how can I link this to context? Well, Damilola Taylor was also separated from his family. By writing every small detail down, it helps you remember things that are important. I still have memories of certain things with my sister from when I was young, and I remember them bit by bit. I could probably write them down like a script, and then I wouldn't forget any of the details. So pause this recording now to do your structure quote explosion. And then on to language. I've put in the quotation, Agnes loves my spit bubbles, as that was the first one I chose in the plan. So what is happening when this quotation is said? Well, Harrison is remembering, whilst on a phone conversation, a memory of his baby sister. It's quite a precious memory to him. Is there a device in this? Well, as we know from my plan, it's an abstract noun and it is the word love. So what's the key words in this quotation other than love? Look at loves, spit and bubbles. So what are the connotations of these words? Well, loves, something he knows she enjoys, it makes her laugh. Spit, in my opinion, is something very disgusting. And bubbles, it's turning something disgusting into something funny or quite childish. That's my analysis of those key words, but how can I link them to context? Well, we know that Harrison and Damalola love their families and want to entertain them. After he died, Damalola's family spoke of how funny he was. So by using this example of Harrison being funny, it links to the context. So pause this recording now to complete your quote explosion for your language quotation. Okay, so what I would like you to do now is pause this recording again and plan your second language paragraph. Okay, remember in this exam you don't need to do a big amount of planning because you should have planned roughly in advance the quotations you are going to use. Good luck in your Pigeon English exam. We all know that you're going to do fantastic.